Our ambition to be the first leaders of services is something which is very strong. To change the culture, you have to have a big why. Why we change the culture and why we want to be more and more services compliant. I want you to be the postman of the future and not the future postman. The CIO should be very in contact with the business unit and also the customer. Which is very important is the way of seeing the different kind of culture. And if you know that you can learn from everybody and everywhere, I don't have a mentor, but I've got the ability of learning of everybody.
This is CIONET TV, and my name is Hendrik. I'm here today with Lionel Chaine, who's the CIO of the mail, parcels and news services business of La Poste in France. And Lionel has a degree in telecommunications engineering, which he completed in London in the University College. In 1995, he joined the Post in the mail IT department, and he's worked in various entities, subsidiaries of the group, mainly in the parcel business. In 2016, you were appointed CIO of the Parcels Mail Services branch with the mission to prepare IT and their support for the objective of the Post to be the leading operator to individual services to individual. And this year, Lionel was, congratulations, elected to DSI de l'année, CIO of the Year in France. Now, the Post is a big services group, have different branches, including the parcel business, the bank, Geopost and so on, 17,000 services posts, and no less than 251,000 collaborators, the second largest employer in
yes,
France. So
that's true.
Thank you very much, Lionel, for welcoming us here.
Welcome in Paris.
Thank you very much. So, Lionel, in this conversation, I would like to start by asking you to talk about the Facteo program that you have implemented here in the Post.
As you mentioned, we are a very big company, but at the same time that we are big, we have a big issue, which is the change of our business model. Yeah. Because as you know, the mail is decreasing very fast, replaced by email. That's, at the same time, we have other businesses such as parcels that increase very fast. And we have decided to be a leader in all the services because all our postmen go everywhere in France, 6 days a week, and they can provide many services. And at the same time, the digital is disrupting us, but at the same time, it's a great opportunity to provide services everywhere, 6 days a week in France, everywhere in France. That was the subject that we have to manage.
How many postmen do you have?
We have 75,000 postmen.
75,000 postmen.
And one issue with the Facteo program that you manage, you mentioned, is we want to help them to provide new services with a very high quality level of services that is possible with the digitalization. And how we do that? We invent what we call give your own device. First, in 2016, we decide to give to the 75,000 postmen, to every guys, we give them a new smartphone, and they can use for their own privacy use as well. And at the same time, we start deploying new application to help them doing their job, everyday job. And now, 3 years after that, we can provide very, very different services, and all the postmen know how to manage it. They can use it every day, and now it's very essential for them to be a good postman because they are assist in very various missions that they have to provide.
Okay, so you had 75,000 postmen. They go out 6 days a week. It's a traditional business that's going down, and you said we need to reinvent and give them the opportunity to develop new services to the public, because they are already out there. We have this force of people that are out there. So what are the new things that they can do now?
For example, we provide more than 80 new services. They can, for example, a postman that can take some pictures, a geocollage picture, for example, is very useful for the cities.
Yeah.
When you have to collect rubbish, for example, if there are rubbish in some places, yes, you avoid a lot of to go everywhere in the street is done, in fact, by the postman that can provide these services. We have services based for our objective is to keep the people at home as long as possible, because, as you know, the silver economy is something that we have to manage in our society.
Elderly people staying at home, not going to
the hospital,
hospitals and so on. Yeah.
And that's, for example, a mission, what we call veiller sur mes parents. That means take care of your parents. You can ask the postman to go 1 day or maybe 6 days a week to visit your parents. And if there are any issues, you can have email or SMS, for example. If you need a plumber or something like that, it can be managed by the postman that can ask services behind, and we provide many services like that, which are quite a new issue for us. And to do that, the challenge for IT is quite hard.
I can imagine.
That means because to do that, you have to have a real-time IT organization, and all the information should be managed in real time and to be broadcast everywhere. We have to be very open. For example, one of the services is that when the postman delivers you some mail, at the same time he can bring back rubbish in the company. For example, if you have a cartridge of your printers, you can bring back them.
The recycling
yes, of course. And that means that we will collect all these goods, but we will track them at the same time, because after that we can give you a carbon document that proves that you are a good company in recycling, and we can manage also the process which are behind. And that means another thing which is very important in IT, that means that we are an open IT, integrated with many partners, with many companies. Because, for example, for recycling, La Poste is not a recycling company, but we have partners which are very good in that business.
So you have to integrate with a lot of different other companies.
Yes, of course. And for example, we collect a lot of data. For example, the postman can ask you some questions about if you want to make a study or something. You can ask La Poste to...
They can do a survey.
Yeah.
Wow.
They can do that, and they can collect all this information, snapshots, pictures, but also questions. So all this information can be managed in real time, provided to partners, and we can put every application we want on our platform. Because, in fact, Facteo now is a platform that can provide apps, providing solutions, and all the postmen can use them very easily.
And what's the impact on the postmen themselves? Do they find this useful, or do they find it annoying that they have to do new things?
The postmen are very good in changing, in fact, because all the aim was to manage services, in fact. A long time ago, we said that the mail was a justification for them to bring services to the people. And now we have new services that are in the same. We can't do anything. That means we have to be in the service area where they can manage. But in fact, they can do many, many things. And we try to experiment many things. Nowadays, they deliver bikes. For example, electric bikes. If you want to learn how to use an electric bike, La Poste is providing you new services in Paris, for example, and the postman will give you your bike to help you. For example, we deploy security equipment at your home if you want. And everything is managed by the postman, but the postman is totally assisted by the IT. That means, what we have to manage is every day we have to deliver 80 million missions on 25 million points of delivery, in fact. And what we provide in the IT, which is behind, is how to optimize, how to assist the postman in delivering all these kind of missions. A letter is a mission, a parcel is a mission, to take care on your parents is a mission. So everything is a mission, and we can manage that using IT, using the Facteo platform, which is something that empowers our postmen every day.
So the postmen have become the eyes on the street. They have they have new services that they can help to recycle and so on. But that means that you also have to make sure that you optimize and that they can fulfill all these new tasks in the round that they need to do.
Yes, for example, to put a letter in a box, letterbox is maybe 3 seconds.
Yep.
To deliver services to take care to your branches could be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So you have to manage that because at the same time we give you information. For example, if you deliver, you ask for a parcel delivery. We send you an SMS on email. You will be delivered tomorrow at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
We have to manage that all the missions are orchestrated by our IT to provide you the right services in the right time. So it's quite a lot of information that we have to manage and to manage in real time. Yeah. Because, for example, if you have a collection request, that come now when you are running your tour, you have to integrate all this information at the right time process.
Yeah, I can imagine that digital and IT is at the heart of developing these new services.
Yes, and to do that, the IT is a great improvement. For example, for doing all these services, we have to know the address of where we have to deliver the missions. Yeah. So we really improve the way we are managing address. It's quite a long time that we have to manage that in our IT. But now we are using artificial intelligence to improve. Okay. And for example, this summer, we improve the rate of reading address that we have to manage by 10%. It's the equivalent of what we did the 10 and past years. Okay. So that's our great improvement due to the digital to help us providing this orchestrated missions everywhere in France.
So your artificial intelligence has allowed you in one go, in one program, to have the same improvement of your address database that normally would take you 10 years to do yourself.
Yes, that's a great...
So that's a big... that's a big result for it.
Yes, of course. The first day we start the system, when we don't manage how to read the address, there are some guys that key in the information behind seeing the image. And the first time we launch the new system, they say, oh, there's something wrong. Because they don't have to...
to not work anymore.
So that means we really improve. And now the guys that keying the address are in fact improving. They are learning the AI to be more and more efficient. That change a little bit the way that they are managing the information.
So that's quite a change that you have, and that's been realized in 3 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Now the 46 components are all in production and they are managing the business of today. Okay. That means it's a totally shift in a very few years. And to do that, ask the people to let out the old IT, what the legacy IT is. When I arrived, I said, okay, we will go there. That is our vision. We will do agile at scale. We will do component teams and feature teams. But you drop off your old legacy systems, give them to third-party companies. They will manage them, but you will be the responsible of the future of La Poste organization, of the future ITs that you will provide.
And do you also have a plan to replace legacy step by step? How do you manage your legacy debt, your IT debt?
Yes, of course. You don't build a city from scratch. We are not in our companies. So we have to replace many applications. When we start, we have 413 applications. My goal is to reach 150. Okay. So it's quite a huge gap that we have to change,
reduce
to reduce the number of applications. And this is one part of the business model of our transformation, because I have to do that with the same budget that I used to have. So you have to decrease the run and the old legacy costs.
So your sourcing strategy is that the new stuff we do as much as possible ourselves.
Yeah.
And the legacy we've like outsourced to third parties. Yeah. And also, are there also the ones that are doing the reduction of the legacy?
Yes, of course. But the guys that are deploying the new component are responsible for building the new components that bring new values and so on. But at the same time, they're responsible of reducing the costs of the old component of the legacy. So they can have all the abilities to do that, and they're responsible for that. That means the autonomy means that you are responsible for the new, but you have to manage the old, even if it's outsourced, done by some guys outside, and that's the reason why we can do the both at the same time. And the difficulties, but also the benefits, or maybe why it works, because we do that everything at the same time. We don't have the choice to do that. That means we have to build the new infrastructure, to design the new plan, to outsource the legacy, and to build the new microservices that will replace the old legacy. And you have to change the technology. Because, for example, we are using old Oracle solutions, and now we are using Cassandra, Kafka, and so on, totally new technology. As I've said to someone who don't know IT, before they speak Spanish, now they are speaking Chinese. So that means it's
completely different.
It's totally different. And we do that just in only 3 years, and everything at the same time. This is quite a big risk, but at the same, it's quite a great opportunity to do that at the same time. But it's you don't have to be wrong in your
make a mistake.
Yes.
So what I'm interested in is when you started in this job, where did you got this vision from, and how did you create your? I mean, you had a big plan. On implementing the new services and agile and so on, and outsource. So the complete strategy and also the architecture. How did you develop that? Is that you had a strategy team for that, or you had some consultants working on that? How did you do that?
In fact, before being the CIO of the mail and the parcel and the services, I was the CIO of the parcels part of the organizations. And my main customer was, at that time, all the e-commerce platform. Our main customer, and which is also a competitor, is Amazon. So I was, and when...
you see them as a competitor as well, Amazon?
Yes, of course. It's our first competitor.
First competitor?
Yes, of course.
In what sense?
Amazon, in every country, for example in France, deliver its own parcels. You have all the organization of delivering
their own distribution.
Yes, and delivery. In all the big cities now, they are deploying their own delivery solution with their own guys, what they call Amazon Logistics. They are their own delivery company.
So they're a big client and a big competitor.
Yes, at the same time. So we know that. But when you have to discuss or to organize with this kind of customers, they are mainly IT companies that deliver services.
Very IT driven.
And when I arrived at in our organization, my boss said you have to do the new services with a very high level of services. For example, the availability, the scalability of the IT should be 99.8. And when I arrived, I visited my data centers. I've got 600 meters of servers, just in one data centers. So
That's
I said,
a big one.
Yes, it's a big one. But I said, if I have to do the same as before, I have to ask to my boss. I want to build a second one because to provide 99.8 availability, you have to have a second. And I will ask millions to do that. that will not possible. So I have to think about which are the new kind of models.
Yeah.
And what I found, for example, I was very inspired with my team by LinkedIn.
Okay.
You know, LinkedIn
Sure.
architectures, in fact, it's just events that are provided from one profile to another one. And parcels or letters are quite the same. That means you have to provide events from one object, one profile in LinkedIn. In fact, it's one mission that we have to provide, and you have a lot of events based on that kind of component. Okay. So I say I have to take the same technology solution as the GAFA or the LinkedIn, this kind of company to provide that. That means open source solution, because due to the amount of data that I have to manage, I will not be able. Before we have, for example, Oracle databases. You have asked to Oracle, I want to multiply by 100 the size, and I want the price, which is 110 tenths less.
No, not possible.
I think it should have been quite a hard issue for me. So I said, I just want open source. I just want to provide event-driven architecture. And when you start putting this kind of thinking on the table, you have to, or everything is coming back. Yep. That means as you have this kind of architecture, you have to be agile at scale, you have to have CI/CD, you have to have cloud native application orchestration. And when you start all that, you have to change all the way that your teams are working, because you cannot provide this complexity. So, in fact, it's just a requirement. And that's why I start doing that. We start doing that in the parcel part.
In the parcels,
we have many fail. That means you don't... it's not a long story with everything.
It's only success.
No, it's not at all. So, but you have to fail very fast. That means to understand and to learn of how you fail. And then based on that, learning experience, because it's just a learning journey. That means.
Can you give an example of your best failure?
I've got failure every week.
Every week?
Every week I've got a failure, and I ask to my team to celebrate the failure.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
You make a failure, but the purpose of the failure is just to learn. If you learn of failure and if you fail fast, you are good. Can be good at the end. That means so small steps, small failure, a lot of learning. A lot of learning experience. Nothing is a lot of abrasion. That means you have to fight the ideas, and nothing is sure. Everything could be changed tomorrow. And when you are using open source, it's very something important, because you can manage what I call obsolescence. And everything could be changed. That means, for example, today the best in class for doing one feature in open source could be one product, but maybe in 2 years it will be another one. So you should be able to change.
Yeah, because cloud can be a big lock-in as well, no?
No. You're true that the cloud could be a lock-in. If you are using what is not open source based services. So we want to avoid, as to my teams, to avoid to be specific. We are using, for example, OpenShift Pass, which is a technology, which is everything is based on open source. Even if we use support from Red Hat in that case, but I don't want to be locked in with anything of any technology.
So you've set up yourself in such a way that today, I don't know, you run on Azure, and tomorrow you can move parts to Amazon without big investments.
Yes, that means we don't use all the capabilities of Amazon, or we don't use all the capabilities of Azure, but we don't care. We want to be independent of the architecture, and we don't want to be locked in, because to be agile is a philosophy. That means you can change, you can move.
Yeah, because everything otherwise Amazon becomes the new Oracle, and you're locked in like you were locked in with Oracle.
Yes.
Okay. And so the question again, I mean, you brought your ideas from your time where you're the CIO at the parcels, but creating this big vision and big program was something that you did in-house with your team, or?
Yes, mainly with my team. What I ask to my teams is, I want you to be the postman of the future, and not the future postman. So what do you think about that? And let's try to go in that way. And they find the solutions step by step. We were, of course, we are using partners for specific points.
Yeah.
But 3 years ago, what we did, it was not written everywhere. That means we are based on LinkedIn model or Spotify organization patterns, but we don't find a lot of partners which are able to help that. Okay. It was just small companies, so we changed all the sourcing strategy we had. Before, we are working with big service provider. In that case, we start working with very small teams. Okay. That means companies with 20 guys. In La Poste organization, when I want to buy services from these small companies.
You're crazy.
You're crazy. They are not. Yes, they are very good in technology, and we want the best in technology for our transformation. We have to do that. And now it's becoming mainstream, so it's much more easier. Yeah. But 3 years ago, starting with Kafka stream development using Scala or Java 8, it was quite, you are a little bit crazy. Yeah. Yes, I'm a little bit crazy, but we did quite well, in fact.
So you're 3 years in this big program, this big change. What are the tangible, the financial results what's the revenue that you've brought to the business?
In fact, for example, the new services, we start from 0 3 years ago, now is 200 million. There's not such a lot of startups that do that. It's quite a big issue. But it's just a small part of the big organization. Yeah. At the same time, we try to optimize all the traditional organization of La Poste, how to manage the missions of the postman, the everyday mission. And for example, nowadays, we start with the parcel. We track, for example, every parcel now till 6 or 7 years. Yeah. But for example, now we try to do the same. We are doing the same for the letters. But we manage million parcels. We have to manage billions of letters because it's much more. Yeah. So we have to provide the IT at the right cost. Okay. That means we have to provide the services that was used to be on the parcel, but the price we sell a parcel is around about €5. Yeah. A letter is about 50 cents. Yeah. So the IT should be less than 3% of the cost. Yeah. So we have to do the same.
At 1/10 of the price?
Yes. Oh, okay. That was quite a big issue that well. For example, we managed 1 billion objects 3 years ago, and now we will manage more than 11 billion. Before we have 7 events on an object, and now we will reach 21. Okay. So you manage.
So it's exploding.
Yes, the amount of data is exploding at the same cost. That means you have to manage that at the same cost. That was the first issue that was asked.
And how do you do that?
Using the technology and going step by step. You have to use the last one technology, the server. We buy the server just at the right time, because if you buy one server 1 year before you use it, it will cost you a lot, and you will lose half of the powerness of the next generation of infrastructure. So it's not only code,
but it's many things.
It's many things to do that, and you have to look at your cost and to pilot your KPI to be sure that always in the right way. I ask to all the component team. I ask them to decrease their costs of what I call unique cost. That means it's a TCO of what they have managed divided by the ontology they have to manage. The ontology, for example, a track and trace is managing later. Another track and trace is managing parcels. So the cost per parcel should be decreased every month. Okay. And to do that,
you manage you track, you have a dashboard of the cost of every individual microservice to of every letter, of every parcel,
Yes. And the purpose is how
needs to go down.
Yes.
The cost needs to systematically needs to go down.
So the purpose is there are two ways to do that. They have to decrease the cost using new technology or decreasing the infrastructure they are using. For example, now all my team shut down the light when they leave. That means they shut down the development environment when they leave. During the weekend, the environment is shut down. So it's good for the earth also. So it's good. CO2, yes. It's good for the why. That means we are responsible of what we are providing, for example. And the other thing is you have to improve the number of ontologies you have to manage. That means more and more parcels managed in this component. That means your service is good. If your service is good, you will get more and more customers. So because now the IT guys are selling their own services. They are selling their API because in fact they are providing API or Kafka topics as a services. So in fact the mindset is totally changed. That means you become someone you have to sell your IT component to other guys, and they say, look, come on, you will use my API, like that my cost will decrease.
So how many people do you have in total in IT under your responsibility?
The teams are in the build part of the organization that I mentioned now is around about 1,000 guys. 50,000 are internal guys. And we recruit a lot of development guys. That means they are our own development teams, and architects. That are the only two competencies that we recruit now.
Developers and architects.
Yes, that's only ones that we recruit now. And we are using partners to help them, but they are integrated in our teams. That means we are agile team, feature teams with postal IT guys and partners.